Hey, what's up, everybody? Crypto's pumping a little bit today. We got Bitcoin almost at $100,000. Let's see if we can crack it. We got XRP up 9%, back to $1.20. Let's take a look at XRP for a minute. Look at that. We've Are we finally breaking the pennant here? Look at this, right? We had that bullish pennant, and we got the break, so that's a good thing. Yeah, it looks freaking fantastic. So the whole idea here is that this is a 1, 2, all of that's a 3, and then we sort of had this running flat for a 4, and now we're potentially going up for a 5. Could it be a fake out? It could. I mean, it could be a fake out, but the thing is I would love to see the 4-hour candle. We got 36 minutes to go. Close above these candles and this candle here. On the 1 hour, let's take a look at the 1 hour. So the 1 hour, we did it, right? We closed above, I believe. Let's see here. Boom and boom. Yeah. So we got the close on the 1 hour scale. I don't like that candle though. I don't like that. But it's sort of testing the waters. It's kind of like, when you get in the jacuzzi, or when you get in the pool, it's too hot or it's too cold, and you kind of dip your toes in, and then you step in there and you kind of get used to it, and you go a little bit deeper, right? That's kind of how it is. The price is kind of dipping its toes in here, trying to think to itself, do I like this, or is this too much? So anyway, we're at $1.20. It looks great, but here's a few ideas that we have to look out for. I'm going to tell you things I like, and I'm going to tell you things I don't like. The things that I don't like is this is 3. Okay, so that can't be a 1. This can't be a 2. Right? So if it's a bearish idea, then we have 3 down, right? And then we can see 3 up, and then I'm sorry, if it's a bullish idea, we have 3 down, 3 up, and then we have sort of this 3-wave down that's sort of a running flat. So W, X, Y, boom, 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 right? And then we had a wave 1 here. That was a 2, and then we had a 1, 2, 1, 2, and now we're revving up for a 3, right? 4 and 5, something like that. So that would be something that I would like. Bearish or bullish. So bearishly, we have 3 down, and this whole thing, 1, 2, 3, that whole thing is a B wave. So A, B, and now we got to come down for C, take out that liquidity, maybe $1, and then fly up to the upside. That would suck, but at the end of the day, that's totally plausible, totally feasible. The reason why is because it's only 3 waves, right? It's still the thing about crypto is there's so many fake outs, and in order to really grasp the fake out, you have to master the flat, right? You hear me talking about flats all the time. Flats are one of the most unique, or the most interesting corrections. They are the type of corrections that burn a lot of people. They're the type of corrections that the market makers thrive on, right? So a flat is essentially a double fake out, right? So, well, it's actually a triple fake out, if you want to know the truth. So we come up, we pull back, and let's say somebody buys the dip, right? Timmy bought the dip. Timmy, right? So Timmy bought the dip, and we started going up, right? And we got stopped. and then we pull back, no problem, no problem, and then we come back up again, and we break the top, right? So Timmy's looking pretty good, right? We just broke out. But what happens is you have to come all the way back down. Sometimes it's a running, sometimes it's a regular flat, sometimes it's an expanded flat. And essentially, you just have to be aware of that, right? You know, a flat is designed to take out traders. That's what its whole purpose is. It's designed to fake you out, to trap you, and to take your money. So how can you work around that? Well, you have to really look at the wave structure. And this wave structure looks very three-wave-ish. So, well, how do you play that? Well, the way you play it is you just have to wait. You have to have confirmation that that's what it is. Right? So it's like, well, how do you buy it? Well, I wouldn't buy it now. I would have already bought it much later, much before, right? Before that even took place. So anyways, I think people should really learn this pattern because it's pretty simple, but it's always complicated at times. I mean, they're all over the place. Look at this. We have one right here where we rolled up, we pulled back, and then we started breaking out. And then Timmy bought the breakout because they're breakout traders. You don't want to be a breakout trader in crypto unless you're looking at it from a weekly, monthly scale, or even like a 3-day scale, or if you're not using leverage, right? If you're spot buying, it doesn't really matter. But if you buy the breakout, you have to understand that it could always come back down, right? So in this case, it did. We had an A, B, C. So if you bought here because you thought, okay, we're ready to go, then you just got creamed because it came back down, and then chances are you probably sold it to avoid getting, hurt even further. And then it goes higher, right? So that's just a little lesson on flats, right? So very, very important structure because they're all over crypto. I mean, crypto is flat city when you really want to know the truth. So anyway, that's XRP. Either this is a flat. Again, it could be an expanded flat. It could be a running flat. It could be a regular flat, or it could be an expanded flat. Or we have 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down, right? We build a base. We have a 1, 2, and then let's go. Doesn't mean it has to go immediately, right? We could flag out here for the next several hours, But what was my main idea with this whole thing? The main idea for me was it looked really good like a pennant, but then also it was a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We go sideways, and then we break out, right? So that's exactly what we did. Now, in order to sustain that breakout, we want to stay above these 2 lines here, really. We really need to stay above these lines if it's going to have conviction in the move, right? So, but if you look at it as a flat, then I would take a trend-based fib extension from the top or from the bottom to the top, back down to the bottom, and look at that. That is a perfect 1-to-1 extension. That's what we don't want. That's if it's a flat, it's going to hit that 1-to-1. Which it totally did. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. So this is a 1-to-1 extension with this. And that is a 3-wave move. And 3-wave moves are also designed to trap you, to lure you in, to make you believe that we're going up. Now, how do you know if it's legit or not? You really don't. Unless you're looking at the smaller time frames and you're really, watching the chart for a while. But other things we can do, right? Let's take a look at the smaller time frames here. We can see, let's go down even to the 1 minute chart. You can see this was a flat right here, right? We pulled back and people bought it, right? And then we came up and then we broke out and then people bought it again and then bam, it slammed right back down. So that's a flat. Now, if this keeps going down and down and down and down, then that's a reversal, right? It's not even a flat anymore. It was just a fake out. So typically you want 5 waves in a flat. So you got 1, 2, 3. This looks like a 4, and then maybe we come down for 5. And if it goes even further than that, then it's not really valid anymore. I would say on the larger time frames, we probably got something else going on, right? In which case we would have to come down and maybe retest $1.16, $1.15, even $1.14 down in here. So you got a little bit of a head and shoulders here. So that's typical though. When you break out, a lot of times it doesn't just go full-fledged, right? It traps people, and then it brings it down, and then it resets, and then it goes up, right? It makes you second guess yourself. That's why you got to just stay zoomed out, right? Stay zoomed out and you'll be all right. And when we look at it zoomed out, it looks great. I mean, we had a nice impulse and we're literally so close to $1.30. I mean, we can just smell it, right? I mean, we're very close. So as soon as we cross, this is the zone that really wakes up the price. So as soon as we break this, that's when XRP can really start to debut, right? Show it what it's got. Because right now, this is just a pump. It's not a run. It's a rally, but it's not a bull run yet. So kind of just waiting to see. We do have quite a bit of candles here, so it doesn't surprise me if that was a flat. We did have to play around a little bit more. So, but I think the answer is going to be in Bitcoin. Speaking of Bitcoin, we're almost at $100,000, right? So, did we hit it? Wow, we came close. We hit 99,000. I think they're probably going to tease us for a little while. I don't know if they're quite ready for it yet. Remember, you want, when you hit 100K, you want the media to be soaked in, right? It's going to make headlines. So are they going to tease us, right? Or are we going to hit 100K? Well, let's put 100K right about there. All right. So if the candle closed, we got 22 minutes for the candle to close. And if it closes like that, it's not going to be that nice looking. That kind of seems like a little bit of a reversal candle. So let's zoom in here. Well, first of all, let's talk about this. So we've been discussing this for a little bit. And one of the conclusions is that either this is a flat, again, a flat, you know what I mean? So number one, that this could be, we have 3 down, and then we have 1, 2, 3 up, and then we get 3 back down. We go sideways, then we break out. So A, B, C. The problem with it is, look how elongated it looks. It looks a little bit too long, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. The other idea is much simpler. 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. boom, boom, boom. And then you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you're about ready to rev up way past 100K. So that's really what it comes down to. Those are the two options for Bitcoin. And depending what happens with that will dictate what happens with XRP. So, by the way, did you hear Michael Saylor on that podcast when they asked Scottie Pippen about, man, God forbid you even touch or talk about Satoshi, right? I just find that hilarious. Like, he doesn't want people talking about Satoshi because he doesn't want people digging around, because when people dig around and they find out who Satoshi is, they might not like what they find. And that could be detrimental to his investment. So he's just protecting himself. That's all it is. But anyways, we got bearish divergence here. Boom, 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 right? We're going down. This is going up. So just keep that in mind. I really like, you can see right here was a flat. A, B, C, right? That was an expanded flat. And then we came up in an impulse. This looks like it should flag out a little bit, and then we should come up and tag 100K. Probably by today, or even tomorrow. Which wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, we're literally there. I mean, we're $1,000 away from hitting 100K. So history in the making. If we look at the super small time frames, yeah, there's nothing there. It seems like it needs to do something like that first. Let's go back to the 4-hour, or let's go to the 2-hour, and let's look at some other charts here. XLM looks a little bit interesting. I mean, we're getting some massive divergence here. All that bearish divergence, right? And I remember seeing this before somewhere, maybe back in the day. Yeah, back over here. This is what XLM likes to do back over here. See what it does? It kind of like moves up, hits the high, and then moves up a little bit more, hits the high, and then hits the high. It kind of rounds down, right? So if we're already doing that now, then that's not so good. But granted, it's on the smaller time frames. So you see what I mean? It's kind of like you hit the high, you hit the high, you hit the high. You're kind of like diverting in here. And I'm sure, look at that. Look at the divergence. Massive bearish divergence on XLM back in the day. So let's go back to the 1-hour and look at it. And now here we are again, kind of doing that same type of thing. So let's see, how many were there back then? It was, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 peaks. Wow. All right, now let's go back to the 1-hour. Just trying to see something here. It's debatable where you would put it, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I don't even think we're gonna get that. So on the face of it, I was liking this as a running flat, but I didn't like it because you had 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then I thought, okay, well then this is the running flat, A, B, C, right? So what we had here, was a 1, 2. All of that's a 3. This is a 4, and that's a 5. And then this is an ABC. Problem is, it's too small. It's too small of a correction to correct this huge wave, which makes me think, well, maybe we're not finished yet, right? Maybe we're not finished. So What else could it be? Well, it's definitely more tricky, but all I have is 3 waves. So if this is 3 down and this is 3 up, then this could very well be 5 or even 3. And it could be one large flat, A, B, C, and then go. So I just don't think it's quite ready yet. It just seems, I don't know, it seems like it's kind of wedging in here. It seems like it needs to come down. I mean, I could be wrong. I hope I am wrong. And I could see it the other way as well. But let's take a look back at XRP here for a minute. Oh yeah, XRP pulled all the way back to 117. Another reason too is because XRP doesn't look finished. I mean, it doesn't look like it's ready to quite move yet. Simply because I only have 3, right? So if that's 3, and that's 3, and that's 3, then this whole thing is 3. And if that whole thing is 3, then we should get 3 back down. I mean, that's just what you would imagine, right? If it was a flat. But the way that it becomes invalid is this: we need to get a freaking God candle that just gets us the hell away from this. Because, you know, retracement levels, they work really well, but when you're dealing with flats, retracement levels don't really mean anything, right, when it comes to flats, because they can go right through all the retracement levels and make you think, okay, we went through the 786, right? Let's just pull the retracement here. Look at that. We went through this or we wicked through the 786, but we got rejected at the 786. So now we're sort of, you know, we need to let this cook in here. We need to let it sit in the oven for a little bit and just sort of, you know, marinate and see what happens. But yeah, those are the 2 ideas, guys. This is a flat, a 3 down, 3 up, and then you get 3 down. So something like this, and then we go. Or again, it's rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and then we break out, and then we just start to go. So those are the 2 options, really. That's what it comes down to. All right. Let me just look at the small time frame again. So this is coming down. Look at that. We went straight up. Now we're going to go straight back down. This is a trader's field, right? They're trading the ranges. The question is, right? Let me show you this for a minute. Can we hold support in here, right? So if this was a 1-2, kind of like a 1-2, 1-2, and we break out, and then we come back down, can we hold support in here and build a structure and then continue? That's what I'm going to look for. And if I can get that, then it's not a flat, right? But if we start to come up here correctively, because this is going to come back up. When it comes back up, does it come back up correctively? Or do we get something like this and then we move back, you know, like a 3-wave move and then move back up? Or when it comes back up, is it going to come down and then get rejected and then come down, get rejected and come down and then start to bleed down? You know what I mean? So those are the few options we have, right? Because a lot of people, you know, they're looking at the pennant, right? And then we break out, which we did. And we got all the way, let's see. If I do it from a little bit more of a conservative approach, I mean, that gets us to about $1.35. And this one gets us to about $1.30. So we'll just say $1.30. All right. So yeah, let's see how this plays out. I want to see it. I want to see it find support in here. These big pullbacks are good if they get bought up, right? So let's see if we get any bids coming in here. So far, we're not, and it's just kind of bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. So, all right, let's take a look at some other coins here. Dog. Looks like it needs a correction, unless this is a diag, and then we get a three-way pullback, and then we can break out. Again, we're going to have to watch and see. Looks decent, but again, I'm only on the 2-minute chart. What am I doing? Daily's finding some resistance. Yeah, the 1 hour looks pretty good. So you have this 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's come up and get 5. A, B, C. Let's come up here and get 5. See, there's another flat right there. A, B, C. That was a running flat. It breaks out. It makes you believe we're going to the moon. It traps you. It brings it back down. Makes you sell. They buy your bag and then they take it back up. It's a heist, you know, unless you can see it coming. So, man, XRP on the 2-hour chart, that's a nasty wick right there. And we got 9 minutes to go. So, but I do imagine some of that wick being retraced. For example, you had this big nasty wick. It came up, it retraced it 50% before coming back to the downside. So let's take a look at some other ones here. QNT, again, you got 3 up. Looks like a flat. Maybe it could be a running flat or a regular flat or even an expanded flat. That's always the tricky part. You got to look at the small time frames to figure out which ones are going to be. But right now, it kind of looks like it needs to do that. THETA still looks really good because of this impulse, because of the big 3-wave pullback, and now you're kind of getting squeezed in here. You're also getting squeezed in here. So it's definitely a pressure cooker. I'm wondering which way it's going to break. I want to be ready for it because look at this huge thing here. Looks interesting, especially when I'm expecting a retracement. If this comes down and breaks to the downside, I'm looking at it as a Wyckoff spring, something like that, if that were to happen. But it doesn't appear like that's happening. It appears like we're getting tense. It's getting very tense in there, and it's about to make a move soon. This looks like a 1. We flag out for a 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I mean, this thing looks like it could get ready to go rather quickly, unless it's another freaking flat, right? Which we always have to be aware of. So, let's look at THETA. THETA is trying to get back above $1.70. Not bad. The big question is it enough? Has it corrected enough? And that I can't tell you, right? I only have 3 waves here. So either this is a A, and this is a B, and now this is a 1, 2. We're about to get 3, 4, and 5 for a C. That's idea number 1, which is a 1, and this whole thing is a 2. And then we're about to rip to the upside, right? So 1, 2, go. The other idea is that this is 1, 2, and then this is the third wave, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're about to rip into that third. So 1 of the third, right? 2 of the third, 1 of the third, 2 of the third, third of the third. So those are essentially the ideas right there. Overall, and you can say, well, which one's it going to be? Well, you have to ask yourself, does it really matter too much? Because if the overall idea here is getting back to the retracement levels, then the idea here is, yeah, if we do flag out, I'm still expecting this, or we just shoot up and get there. So those are the 2 routes. So when you zoom out, it really doesn't matter too much, right? So that's pretty much it for Theta. Let's look at Litecoin. So Litecoin had a pretty decent rally, had a 3-wave pullback. So maybe this is 1, we're flagging out for a 2, and maybe we can get 3, 4, and 5. Or this is going to come down, and we're going to get 3 down. This is going to be 3 up, and then we're going to get 3 back down, and then go. So you see what I mean? Anytime you're messing with retracement levels, A, B, and here's point C. Point A, point B, point C. You're sort of in the middle here, and you have to watch, and you have to wait. Render looks like a nice, so far it looks like a nice running flat, A, B, C, but I'm not sure about that. I would much rather say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now this is going to be an A, this is going to be a B, and this is going to be a C, and then we go. So I think that's probably, I don't know, I think that would be a little bit more likely. And then it also would give, not just for render, but for all the charts. And then it would give it more time to reset the oscillators, reset the momentum, sort of cool off the market a little bit from extreme euphoria, extreme greed, cool the sentiment down, and then bring it up. So just an idea. Or, again, it could be an A, B, C. It could be a running flat here, or even a regular flat, and it can get going probably by next week sometime. So when I look at SHIB, I look at 3, and to me it looks like this looks like it needs to do that. It looks like it should be 3 up. And either from there we could break out, or from there we can have a bigger 3-wave correction. But you can tell it doesn't look finished yet. So either that, or this is 3, this is 3, and then we get 1, 2, 3, like that. And there's your B wave, or your W, or your X, right? And then we have to figure out about Y. So, anyways, Axelar, same thing. It's kind of getting squeezed in here. It's kind of getting squeezed. So, momentum is, it's kind of consolidating for a bigger move on the horizon. Same thing with near. You can see it. Either this is an expanded flat or a running flat, or this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that's 3, and then we get 3, and then we get 3, and then we go. So it's really simple, but it's really not simple. But if you're an investor, if you're a hodler, if you're a spot buyer, if you're an accumulator, then it's very simple. Because what you would do is you would wait for three-way pullbacks to dollar cost average. That's kind of how I look at it, right? So if you have a three-way move, it doesn't hurt to DCA a little bit. Not financial advice. And then, if let's say we come up and get 3, don't buy it. Anytime you get 3 up, don't buy it. Anytime you get 3 down, buy it. That's just simple, right? And then if you get 5 down, the difference is if it's 3 down, it's a Y. If it's 5 down, it's a C. So if you get 5 down after, right? If you get 5 down in wave C, then that means you have a 3-wave move. So you're buying the 1, 2, 3. You're buying the fifth of the. You're buying the 5th wave of the C wave of the 3-wave move, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, we sort of moved down here. This could be 1, 2. No, that broke the top, so that can't be right. So this thing fired up here. Let's see it flag out. Maybe we can get a little bit higher, right? So again, it could be 3 down. We can get 3 up. We can get 3 back down. Or this is finished, and we're going to start moving up, and breaking out. The way you know is the way it moves up. Does it move up like a B wave, or does it move up like a wave 3? So we just had the 2-hour candle close on XRP. Let's take a look at the 5-minute. So this is the spot where buyers need to step up. You have an expanded flat. You broke out. You're back testing 117. Let's actually do this. I'll put a horizontal line right there. And then I'm going to go and look left. Always look left. If you're not sure, look left. And that's kind of where we are. Right? And then if we're too low, then I want to put another line about right there. So that would be our little zone we need to get out of. So below the line, we're bearish. Above the line, we're bullish. But even below that, it's still bullish because I want to see, this could also back test. There's another area right there, about $1.15. Kind of like another safety net, if you would. So, anyways, let's take a look at some other one. Filecoin, yeah, it looks a little bit, doesn't look so good on the 5-minute chart. We had a beautiful impulse, but this looks like a bear flag. So it kind of looks like it needs to do that before doing that. On the small time frames. On the larger time frames, you took the peak out. I'm sure there's divergence there. It could be it looks like a running flat right in here. All right. So number 1, running flat, and then there's your 1, there's your 2. Let's go 3, 4, and 5. Or we get 3 down, we get 3 up, and then we get 3 down, and then we go. So it becomes a much bigger correction. But again, it's so early. It's hard to know until we have more wave structure. It's not clear at the moment. But when you zoom out, it becomes very clear. And that is, we built this accumulation structure. We broke out, we backtest. So it's only a matter of time, in my opinion, that we should get back into the retracement levels a lot higher. Not just Filecoin, but a lot of other ones. Let's take a look at Matic. Matic's in a little bit different of a story because it doesn't really have a base. Its base got annihilated. So it needs to prove itself by continuing to march. Zcash looks a little bit bullish here. Kind of looks like it's getting squeezed right at the top here. Definitely has a different look to the chart. Has different characteristics of it. So either this is a 1 and then we have a 2 and this is a 1, 2 and then we're about to rip for the third, or this is a 1 and this is going to be a 2. It's going to be a flat and then we go. Basically 2 ideas. There you go. Look at this. Here's a flat that actually played out. We had 3 down. We shot the high. And then you had sort of this awkward looking shape here. But it was a running flat. And then we sort of had like a 1, 2. And then that's a 3. So this should flag out for a 4 and then get 5. As it appears. Now, could it come all the way back down and back test these levels? Of course it can. Just have to look at the small time frames to get that indication. ADA, it looks like it's kind of cooked up here. We're super overbought on the daily. We're sort of just still grinding up. It's a little bit heated. We're right back at the swing high here. So, I mean, it's a dangerous spot, to be honest, for ADA. You know what I mean? Could it break out? Totally. Could it come all the way back down and retest, 50% of this whole wave, cut it in half, 50%? Yeah. Right? So, how do you know which one's it going to be? Well, again, the small time frames will give us more of an indication of that. It's baby steps. You take one step at a time. You don't have to know 5 weeks in advance, right? As long as I can know what the next couple days are going to look like, that's all that really matters. We might have a diag here, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of like an ending diag. And then we kind of flag out and then continue. Because XLM has that look, ADA has that look. Unless this is just super bullish and it just keeps pounding to the upside. But again, as a trader, as an entry, I just don't have that. So I just kind of wait and see. I have no problem waiting. Because what is the overall move? The overall move is easy. And what's that? Upside. Why? Well, because look, it's doing exactly what Ethereum did. By the way, I made some money last night in Ethereum. And I never trade Ethereum. Hardly ever. But if I can find it real fast. Okay, here's Ethereum. And the reason I bought it is because of that wick right there. I saw that wick and I'm like, whoa, that looks interesting. That tells me, you see that, right? That was like a little bit of a Wyckoff there. Look, we had 3 up and then we had 3 down and then we had the liquidity grab. And I saw that and I go, oh, I got to snag some. So I bought it and we're chilling up here. So I haven't sold it yet, just kind of waiting and seeing and thinking about it. But what I wanted to show you with ETH is what it did last bull run. So you can see the W pattern. You can also see that W pattern in the works. So an ADA is going to be a strong competitor, right? They got a lot going for ADA, Cardano network. You know, you got Trump in the White House coming soon. But if the deep state, you know, they're trying to initiate war, they're freaking sending missiles, right? But I think Putin is sort of understanding, yeah, Trump should be in. He's going to try to restrain himself. But it doesn't look good, right? I believe they're trying to scare us into war. And they want to create chaos before Trump gets in. They want to leave him a mess so that they can blame him for it, right? Because at this point, it's personal. So, yeah, I mean, think about the timing of all of this. Like, why couldn't you send those missiles when they were actually, like, at the beginning, like when it was all going down? Like, why all of a sudden now? Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, we don't want war. We want peace. We don't want people dying on both sides. It doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. It's just cut it out. Just stop. And the deep state trying to prop up crude oil. That's what it's about, right? Anytime you see missiles going off, it's all about propping up crude oil. Who benefits from higher oil prices? Saudi Arabia, the Middle East countries, right? So that's why there's so much chaos and brainwashing in the Middle East with all these people fighting each other, is because they want them to fight each other so that they can initiate more war, and more war means higher oil prices. Higher oil prices means those countries get richer. So, anyways, it's a clown show, and hopefully Trump can't get in there. He needs to get in there as soon as possible, because these guys are just, these guys are just gonna destroy our country right before they leave. They act like they're gracious, but they're actually sore losers. You just have to look closely. Anyways, I think that's about it. Not really much else to say. Let's take a look back at Bitcoin. Or let's take a look at a few others real quick. It pretty much more or less the same here. Pretty much more or less the same. Remember, Ethereum had a three-way pullback. It built a base. It broke the base. So that's good. That's what we want. Flow looks pretty good. Same thing with Flow. Same thing with THETA. Same thing with Filecoin, right? They have the same look. They're breaking out. Eventually, they should get back to the retracement levels. And then from there, we sort of reevaluate. But the small time frames, look out for those flats, because they're always all over the place, right? So anyways, let's go back to Bitcoin. Coming back a little bit strong here, or a little retrace there. I want to see something like that for Bitcoin. That would be great. What about XRP? Yeah, had a little bit of a retrace, but not as strong. I want to look at XRP versus Bitcoin here, if I can find it really quick. There we go. So XRP versus Bitcoin. Problem with this one is, what do you see? I see a three-wave move down. I see a three-wave move, right? So you're trending to the downside, and you got a three-wave move. That's a dangerous spot. because you could just keep moving down, right? Because if we flip it upside down, what do you see? You see an impulse and you see a three-way pullback. But I don't like it a lot because if you look at the C wave, it looks like a complete dump. So still looks bullish. It looks like we're flagging out in here. So yeah, XRP versus Bitcoin definitely looks a lot better than it's been looking. Because ultimately we need to get back to this area. And then from there, back to this. So that's going to be the zone. That's going to be the target for XRP versus Bitcoin. Could it break out? I mean, yeah, it could, but it's going to take a lot to break it out. We can kind of see a little bit of a downward resistance line in here. And then we see a little bit of a, so that's kind of the area here. And if I just extend it out, you know, we should have a resolution by 2028, right? So like 4 years from now, we should have, that's a long time. So no, but I think it'll be much faster than that. Total 3, still looking good. Remember, we still haven't even broken out yet. So technically, we're not in a bull run until, I mean, Bitcoin is, but for the rest of the market, it technically hasn't happened completely yet until we get through some of these areas. So anyways, Theta Fuel, still chilling in here, still in its flag, 1212. Looking forward to break out. Hopefully sooner rather than later. 1 hour chart actually doesn't look bad at all. Look at that. Looks like a flat. Boom, boom, boom. And let's see if we can go. Or we get 3 down, we get 3 up, and then we get 3 back down and then go. It's all about what happens right around there. How does it look? How does it react? Right? And that's kind of like being in that trader mindset, is just kind of hunting down, looking at it. Same thing with loop ring. Looks pretty good. Right? You have that long sort of flat. You pop the top, kind of chilling in here for a minute. Looks okay. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it wants to do that, but I think that'll do it for this video. XRP market cap. So we'll end it here. So look, we have our pennant. We broke out. It looks great. We got 4 hours. Oh, so the 4 hour candle closed, but it didn't close. Dang it. It didn't close above. Did it or did it not? Yes, it did. It did close. It did close above this, but it did not close above that. But now we see this candle kind of coming back a little bit. Let's take a look here at the 5 minute. Yeah, so if this is a wave 1 and this is a wave 2, I want to see this thing push. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Things can happen very fast. We just got to look out for it. And appreciate everybody for tuning in. And if you can hit that like, I really appreciate it. And hit subscribe if you haven't already, because you don't really want to miss things, because when they break, they happen fast. So anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.